Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I talk about mental health because my mind matters and I talk about it. So today is part 5, job 5 of how I lost my job and how it affects me today. So in the last video, I was working at this retail store from October 2019 till November 2019. This next job I don't get for another year afterwards, because we all know what year came after 2019. It was 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020. Lockdown. It turned out to be alright that I didn't have a job during that time. Otherwise, I wouldn't still have a job. But COVID is actually not something that affected my life at all, really. Like, I already spend like 90% of my life at home, so it really did not affect me at all. However, 2020 was really hard for me, but for personal reasons. February of 2020, my very first dog, Cinnamon, my family dog, she passed away at the age of 16, and so that was really hard for me. All throughout March, I was couch-ridden with this insane migraine, literally the entire month, and I have no idea why, what caused that, what was going on, but I literally had a migraine every single day, and if I would get up, then I would be really lightheaded and dizzy, and I would collapse. I also had aches and nausea, so I was not having a good time during the month of March, and I have no idea why. Like, I wasn't sick or anything, it was not COVID. It was just this migraine that I had every single day for an entire month. And so if you've been following my channel, then you know what happens in the next month. In April, I had my suicide attempt, and that was when I became a suicide survivor and spent 5 days in the mental hospital. The month after I came home, in May, is when I adopted my emotional support dog, my pit bull, my little Sky, my first child. A couple months later, I do end up getting a job this year, and it was a Halloween store. It was Spirit Halloween, and we all know that is only open for like 2-3 months every year, so it was a little temporary job, but it was a good job. I loved the people I was working with. Everyone was so fun and kind. I had no issues with this job. I never really had to engage with the general manager, but I mean, even when I did, like, she was such a nice lady. Still was intimidated by her because of my anxiety, however, but she was a great lady. As they were like cleaning everything up, closing it down, I came in for a visit, and I stopped and talked to her, and she actually has some really kind words for me. She said that I was a great employee, and she gave me a job suggestion for the store that was going to take over that building after they left. And so that was really great. That was basically it. It was great. It was fun. And I got to dress up. I got to be a gypsy every single day. 10 out of 10, do recommend work at Spirit Halloween every year you get. During this time, in October 2020, I also started my internship with my mentor, Jay. We work in production, we did shows, we do live streams, I've done concerts. I recently did a firefighter convention, which I vlogged, so you can go watch that. And I've met the most amazing people. I have worked with the most amazing crews. I work with Jay still to this day. It's just not constant, so I still have to get other jobs to bring money in. In April 2021 is when I took my trip to Utah, which I also vlogged, and you can watch that as well. When coming back home from Utah, I made the definitive decision that I was going to move to Utah within the next year or so. So that meant I had to get a job. I had to put my butt back to work, and I had to get a job. And at this point, getting a job was really, really hard for me because of all my past experiences. Having a job really is unhealthy for me. It really damages my mental health. Going to work makes me feel trapped because I feel like there's never going to be anything else for me. I feel worthless. I feel useless. And then coming home and having days off, I never have the motivation to work on myself or any of my hobbies or my career. I just spend all my days just sleeping or watching TV. I never even worked out because I felt like I didn't have the time to work out even on my days off. Working too much is not healthy for me at all, especially with my anxiety in the workplace. I had to be very selective about where I worked. I knew what my limits were. I knew that if I had a bad vibe in a place, then I shouldn't work there. And I knew what I didn't like, and mainly that was working in food. Because that whole environment, the pressure and the multitasking and all of that, no, does not work well for me. Doesn't matter how many interviews I have, how many places I apply to, no one ever wants me. Everyone always says that I don't reach the requirements, or I'm not qualified or whatever to work with them, and I'm always like, why? I mean, like, I can basically learn anything if you teach me, and how am I supposed to get the experience if you don't give me the experience? I had already applied to every single place. I have applied to places twice or 3 times, and no one ever wants me. So it's already just really, really hard for me to get a job in general. I even started working for It Works. It's all stay at home and it's over social media, and people have been made billionaires from working for It Works. And so I had a couple friends working for them, and so I tagged along because I was thinking, hey, it would be great, like, if I can start doing good with this, and then I can move to Utah, and then I can just keep doing that and focus on anything else that I want to do, then that'd be great. It turns out that it's commission based, and I already knew that was never going to happen to me. That was never going to happen for me because it's over social media. And everyone on my social media, they do not support me in anything I do. It doesn't matter if it's a painting, if it's my Etsy shop, if it's my YouTube channel, if it's my photography, if it's anything that I try to promote, anything that I try to do for myself. Nobody cares. Nobody cares, whatever, nobody notices me. And anytime I am noticed, they give me nasty comments. So I already knew that that was never going to happen. The one perk about it was I was able to gain a couple new friends on my Facebook account, because one of the things you do is you go to your friends and go to their friends, and you just scroll through and start adding a bunch of people, which I was really uncomfortable with, but now I'm thinking that's a really good idea and I should really do that again. It works, it does not works. So, for my next plan of action, I had a friend that had a ice cream shop, whose brother also owned an ice cream shop on the beach, and he got me a job with him. And I worked at this ice cream shop in May or June? May? I want to say June. The beginning of June, yeah. I worked at this ice cream shop in the beginning of June until the beginning of June. It only lasted 3 days. Day 1, I walk in and already, like, just looking at the environment, I knew that I wasn't gonna like it. So I was like, it's just gonna be okay for now. I can work here temporarily until I find something better. the next day, day 2, my depression was triggered almost immediately. And so I'm going through the day just trying not to let myself burst into tears. And I'm in my thoughts. I'm thinking those intrusive thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'm useless here, and really just wanting to get out of it. And that's kind of the state that I get into most days whenever I'm working at a job. But then I come back the next day. I was making these little ice cream treats, these like chocolate covered bananas. I had been taught how to do it previously, and so I was doing it exactly how I was taught to do it. And in this little shop, I work with this other guy. So he comes over to me, he's seeing me do these little ice cream treats, and he's looking over my shoulder, and then he's telling me that I'm doing it wrong. And so then he takes over and he shows me how to do it, but the way he's doing it is exactly how I was doing it. And so at that point, I really just wanted to snap at him. Like, that's how I was doing it. But I held back. I stayed quiet. It's something that triggers my anxiety. But he basically just ran in, took over, and I was just like, I'm not having this. And so while he was showing me, I just walked away. So then we start getting people to come over to make orders. So I'm trying to make the order and just ring them up. And then he steps in again. I don't remember what for, but he just steps in, takes over. And so I'm like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna go ahead and start making their drinks. But then he tells me, no, you have to come do this and then also make the drinks, and come do this and make the drinks. And I'm like, no, I can't do this. And then at that point, that's when my anxiety attack bursted. I was in tears, and I was telling him off, and I was telling him, you know, if I leave right now, I'm never coming back in. So I grabbed my bag and I walked out. This was right on the Myrtle Beach little strip with all the shops and everything, and then the Sky Wheels like on either whatever side it was. So there's these little alleyways in between the buildings. I stormed out, and I went and I just sat in the middle of one of the alleyways behind a loading truck. And I sat there and I cried. And I cried really hard, and I really wish that I just had my dog with me. I sat there for maybe an hour. I sat there until I couldn't cry anymore. And there was this guy that kept walking by, and working for the loading truck, and he just kept asking if I was okay. Hola. Hola, ¿cómo está? By the time I was done crying, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go home now. Working in an area like this, there's no free parking. You have to park in a little parking spot, and there's men that attend it, and you have to pay however much money. Working at this job, I had a specific parking lot that I always went to, and it was always the same guy that worked. So that's where I parked that morning. So I was trying to pay for, I was trying to pay for the day, and their little machine wasn't working, and so he just told me, just go ahead, go to work, and then whenever you come back, you can hopefully be working by then, and you can pay for your parking. I'm like, okay. So I ended up coming back only an hour or so later. So I come back, and their little machine's still not working, and so I kind of tell him what happened, and he kind of sees what kind of state I'm in, and so he just tells me, you know what, just leave it. Go ahead and go home. That was just really sweet. That was the end of that job. No one's ever going to really truly understand, but that's why in the next video I am going to be posting another video talking about like tying all of these jobs together, all of my experiences together, and really trying to talk about and express like how it all has affected me. You're probably going to really invalidate my traumas because I know like this all sounds like something that probably everyone has experienced, but we all experience things differently. We all go through different things differently. My trauma is valid, and I'm going to get into more of that in the next video, so please stay tuned. Please watch that to really hear me out and try to understand why it is that I'm sharing these videos. But yeah, so that pretty much brings me to the job I had in this video, or the job I lost in this video, which started in June 2021 until February 2022. And then that will bring me to this video, which started in April 2022 and ended in May 2022. And then that brings me to the job I have today, which I've had since June 2022. And that brings me to an even 10 jobs in 10 years. And 3 of those jobs was actually in the same year, this year. I had 3 jobs just in this year, and so that's a record for me. Thank you guys for watching. Please stay tuned for the next video. And please support me by subscribing and also clicking on the link below where you can see my photography website, my Etsy shop, and whatever else is all down there. So please be sure to check that out and support me so that I don't have to experience job traumas ever again. Is there anything else? No? Okay. Well, stay real and have a super sparkly day.